And welcome to LAWhammer. You may note that when it moves out towards everybody in the room, we are one person missing this week. We are sadly without Dan, which makes us obviously very, very upset. But at the same time, it means that we get to do something a bit experimental this week. We are going to be diving into one of our, let's say, almost infamous side streams, where we tackle some events that happened in the past with this particular one. And it's fair to say by the end of this one, I think there might be quite a few eyebrows being raised, depending upon how this one ends. But before I get on to the details of that, we have a couple of things to say. Number one, I'm going to be doing myself a big chatty, talky thing at a con. Hopefully at about this time, assuming it's worked. Did it work, Erin?
Yes.
Yay! So down in the bottom corner, I presume, it will have a lovely bit from World Anvil that's explaining all the lovely people I'm going to be joining and chatting with in the middle of March. Somebody out there can tell me the date because I don't know it yet. It literally just got posted and I quickly slapped the graphic over so that Erin could share it. So in March, if you want to come and see me discuss, I presume world building, it's going to be awesome. I'll have more details about that later. This is the worst ad ever. It will get better as the weeks go by. But beyond that, I'm now going to pass over to my absolutely wonderful wife, who's going to be discussing something that I will be also discussing over with Rookery Publications, and it won't be an in-depth examination into our relationship, contrary to Lindsay's attempt to make the stream about that.
Thanks. But I can't remember what you came up with. Joking, because I'm the memory of the partnership. So tomorrow on Inside the Rookery, I will be once again.
I mean, when I am the memory of your relationship.
Which tells us everything we need to know about the three of you.
Tomorrow on Inside the Rookery, Andy Lee's will be away, so we may forget things. I'm going to be hosting, and I'm hosting my darling husband, Andy, who's coming on to talk about, very appropriately, long-term campaigns. This BT's coming off. They did not think through this wardrobe choice.
We are the height of professionalism this week. So this, tomorrow, we're going to be discussing long-term campaigns. Now, we know a lot of you out there are either embarking on them, have embarked upon them, or are considering embarking upon them. So hopefully this will be something that really appeals to many of you watching this. I'm going to be, obviously, telling everybody about it out there for those who are going to be catching the stream later. If you're catching the stream come Monday onwards, we've already had this chat. It was lovely. It's over in Rookery Publications. I really had a lot of very insightful things to say. You definitely don't want to miss those. But if you'd like to ask questions live, make sure you pop over tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK time. All right. What are we doing today? Ooh. Right. So I've talked to everyone before this session because this one is a session. I have no idea how this one's going to land. We've had lots of discussions before about how we handle our, let's say, side streams and how we handle our players taking on some other characters and diving into the past with perhaps unreliable narrators telling particular stories about things that occurred. And we have discussed more than once about whether they are primed, whether they're not primed, whether they have things to say, whether they make them all up themselves. And this week is going to be a fine example of a session that there is a lot of creative control out there. Plus, I am purposefully, as you will note once the stream gets going, setting things up so I have no idea how this one's going to land. I have literally no idea. You'll see why as we go along. Everybody's got themselves a character, which they will get once our storyteller at hand gets to the point of telling said story. And I don't know how it's going to land.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Oh, don't worry, you're in safe hands, Andy. Ours.
So I'm really looking forward to this one. I know some of what's coming towards them in terms of loose direction, but I don't know where it's going to land because they're going to be making many of the choices themselves. Blind, admittedly, but many of the choices themselves. So
It's no different to a normal session.
Now, you might not be able to see it very well, depending upon just how well the cameras are picking up, but some of them are already wearing their stickers. They're wearing those not because people forget names, honest. They're wearing those because the characters that they're playing this week know each other really well. And that's really quite easy to miss when you're playing just a one-off session. So they've all got themselves a little sticker that they've slapped onto their chest so that they don't forget those names. Those names will be popping up a little bit later once good old Aaron puts them in place, once we get going. So, other than XP, which we're not doing because a certain someone isn't here, I think we're good to go, unless anybody has anything they would like to ask before we begin. No?
9.
Well, I suppose we're ready for episode 32.1. The Witch of the Woods. Wizards sat in a room in one of the guardhouses very close to the palace. The first, a woman in her 40s, looks a bit anxious. She runs her hand through her brown hair and looks over to the other two far older men and says, "Look, I understand, of course, that there are certain protocols at hand here, but..." And she's entirely interrupted by an old man wearing blue with a long beard. And he says, "Look, I understand, Deputy, but I think this is worth pushing forward." He says, "Good Lord Magister here really needs to speak to the Graf, and I think that it is incumbent upon us to ensure that he does." And she wrings her hands together. "Right, of course, High Wizard. Well, of course. I mean, that's not going to cause any problems at all, but you, as the third wizard, says, "Yes," and puts his hands up to his very blind eyes. Runs his hands through his grey hair and goes, "I understand that there might be a little bit of an issue," he says, "speaking to the Graf of Middenheim." He says, "But I think that the situation that I have uncovered deserves perhaps royal attention. And it's not like he doesn't know me already. Just getting in." He says, "Yes," says the far older wizard. "Yes, well, I'm willing to do this if..." He looks over towards his deputy, looks back towards him. "You're willing to perhaps drop a little word into somebody's ear while you're there? You could do that, couldn't you, Lord Magister?" He says as he leans back. "I suppose I could. What is it that you're looking for?" "Where's this damn scroll tax? Taxing wizards!" I mean, the priests, fair enough, but the wizards to come in, we're not going to be able to put the illuminations up. We've already had 3 cancellations. The Graf will not be pleased. The Graf won't be pleased. The Graf will not be pleased at all. He likes to see the great... I understand that the Graf will not be pleased. I see. Well, I most certainly will. Who do you want me to speak to? Anyway, he says, "Well, I've spoken to the Chancellor, and the Chancellor is going to bring you in, so speak to him. I trust you've already bent his ear?" "Well, not much of his ear left, if I'm to be absolutely frank." "Well, of course. That won't be a problem. I am a man of my word." And they sit there in slightly awkward banter mode for some 10 minutes. The High Wizard is very uncomfortable in the situation. Yes, Aldorf, yes. The deputy is far more comfortable, going, "It's rather fortunate, isn't it? Yes, and that's comfort." The third is quite happy to just wax lyrical whenever he's given space. Yes, of course, I was very recently down in Altdorf, spoke to the Emperor himself, you know. So I sometimes like to provide him with a little bit of advice. Before eventually, the two uncomfortable wizards' lives are saved by the arrival of another party. The older one with the long white beard and the blue under his breath goes, thank the fucking God. As in comes a man with a grey widow's peak. Very precise looking gentleman. So this is the... He does not look like a Lord Magister of the Orders, High Wizard. Ah, yes, of course. I like to travel incognito, he says. Means that there are certain advantages that I can take. I can conduct my business, imperial business, he says, with some ease. He looks over at the High Wizard in blue. Are you certain? Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, I don't want to hear any more talk about this tax, all right? Of course, of course. And he leads him out. Would I be correct in saying that he's told you to discuss matters with me concerning the tax? Ah, yes. Yes, he did say something along those lines. Well, I won't be discussing it. Because, of course, Lord Chancellor, I have no interest in that at all. After all, I dodged a tax, he says. Didn't pay a penny of it. You did what? He says, well, I'm just a simple travelling man on imperial business. Yes, well, I care no direction, really, got the tax. You can tell him that. I don't care one way or the other. It's not up to me. Speak to the law lords, not me. Yes, well, I honestly don't care either. I only have business to attend to. Yes, right. Ahead of them, down the long corridor, a new party arrives with very clear sight laid upon those two coming towards him, and he walks straight towards them with purpose. A slight man, almost effeminate, in his 60s, with one hand raised, comes forward. Oh, Chancellor, so good to see you. I hear you're off to speak to the Graf. Ah, Chamberlain. Yes, the Graf. You know that you can't speak to the Graf without my say-so, so... I'm escorting this gentleman to see the Graf. Then I shall attend. This is private business. Private business, Chamberlain. Ah, yes, of course, that is my title. Well, that is a shame. I will be taking you to the Graf. Of course. The three of them walk along, side by side, with him in the middle, looking at the other two. Then looking forward. He passes through and then out a big open door, across an open palace courtyard, and the rise of the Middenpalats itself before them. It is a large building, sitting atop a large chunk of rock itself, with a small spiral staircase making its way down. Off to one side, you can see the long stable houses, most of which are empty, but many of them have got various noble crests sitting above them. There are a lot of visiting nobles just now, many of whom have asked and been given license to stay either in or around the palace grounds. The wizard looks around, spots some folks sparring off at the side with some fanning ladies watching on. Really? Carnival's already started, says the Chamberlain. Don't be so quick, he says, to judge them. They're just young people doing what young people do. As they make their way over. One of them breaks free, comes running over. Oh, bloody hell, so good to see you, Chancellor. He says, oh, who's this? I'm frightfully sorry, we're a little bit busy. He says, we have no time for judicial champion business. He says, well, that's a bit of a shame. Slaps his chest. He says, we've been having ourselves quite a day. I'm going to be fighting down in the... in the rings today. He says, you never know, by the end of this, I might not even be champion anymore. Now, wouldn't that be champion? Well, look, I understand that you intend to marry. He says, but I have no interest in this. Well, the champion can't marry. Just to make sure it's clear. I mean, if I lost, it wouldn't be my fault, would it now? Would it, Chancellor? Chancellor. That would be a shame, he says as he turns round. The one being escorted turns round, looks back. I trust that he doesn't wish to continue on in his position. Who will you end up having as champion? I really don't care, says the Chancellor, as long as they're cheap. They make their way up the staircase. And at the top of the staircase, they enter a grand hall. An enormous mosaic is spread out across the squared hall at the edges. And it shows the front gates of Middenheim with a running wolf beneath it. If seen from some distance, it would be pretty impressive, but up close you can see it's pretty worn. At least they can see it's pretty worn. As he makes his way across there, looking over at the various individuals who are around. In the distance, a plong, 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 plong can be heard. And a giggling of women. Pling, 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 plong. Aye, why don't we start again with a different song? He says, my ladies, we have to prepare ourselves, he says, for the courtly battles that are going to be ahead of us come the carnival. And you hear some laughter. Really? Keep it in your bloody trap. And then the Chancellor realises that he's not alone and shuts up. Makes its way up the stairs and then finally into a receiving room. Chamberlain says, you may go. Chancellor says, walks straight across the room. No, you may! Turns around to the guest. Sit there. Remember, if you do see him, and you might not, Your Royal Highness, followed by Sir. Do you understand? Yes, of course. I completely understand, Chamberlain. It is not my first time meeting the Graf. He says, that doesn't mean that you'll get it correct. Remember, always look him in the eye. Always look him in the eye. No turning your head away. I understand. You don't need to explain. I have been here. Yes, Lord Chamberlain. In the eye. Your Royal Highness. Repeat after me, Your Royal Highness. Your Royal Highness. Sir. Sir. Not my lord. Of course, my lord. Chamberlain. Comes a crow call as a white crow bats against a window at the side and then just stops and starts pecking on the window. Bloody birds. All sorts come during carnival time. And he goes off out the room. Lord Magister looks out towards the crow. Auspicious. Stands up, starts walking in a loose circle, pacing. Of course, my lord, he says, there are going to be issues concerning the impending. No. That is the matter to concern. No. No. His hand goes down to the book that sits at his side. Yes. Now that is a better idea. And for a moment, he appears to be looking at the book. Yes. Outside. Yes. Yes. He sits down. Yes. It takes a full 2 hours. By this point, most people across the city are having breakfast. When our good friend, let's call him the storyteller, is eventually granted audience. It's the Chamberlain that leads him through. Now, of course, remember what I said. Now, you must realise that he's still in mourning. I'm quite aware. No, he is still in mourning, so if he should be out of character, it says, then that is simply the way that you're going to have to deal with it. It's not my position to judge. I am merely a servant of the royal house and the empire. Quite. Well, you'll be warned. Knight's Panther line the corridor ahead as he walks past them. The one at the front says, "Is this the man? What is your name?" "Lord Magister Alric of the Light Order." He says, dunks once with his staff. "And you vouch for him?" "Well, actually, it's Chancellor Sparsom. It's not me." "Really, Bruegel? Chancellor Sparsom? The Chancellor has something to do with the wizards?" "Well, I'll ask. I can't guarantee anything." He goes in. "Is he not taking guests?" No one replies to him. Then the door opens. "Yeah, well, he'll see you, Lord Magister. It's unexpected." "You've been briefed?" "Yes, most so." "Well, escort him in." Flanked by 4 Knights Panther, 2 to either side, forming a nice little box around him. He comes in. Knights Panther at the back, unclips his blade and pulls it slightly, ready to do whatever is required, should it be required. This is enough for him to hear it and go, "Ha, ha." Sitting ahead of him is the Graf of Middenheim. He's a man in his, you would, if you were there, guess 60s maybe? Or if he's in his 50s, then life has been hard. His big auburn beard sits on his chest and has streaks of grey through it. His hair is hanging loose and unkempt to either side, and his face is pasty. He's leaning back and he has a glass of wine in his hand as he looks up and says, "Oh, bloody hell, Ulrich, I don't have time for your shit." He says, "It better be good, or I'll have you hung." "Then I'd best make sure that it is good, your Royal Highness." He says, "Captain, fuck off." "Ah, yes." Bows with a creak of his metal, makes a small hand gesture, and all of them go out. The blade snips back into place. "What is it?" He says, "I'm not in the best of moods. I had heard the unfortunate news of your wife's demise." He says, "Yes, well, what do you want?" "It has recently come to my attention that there are rumors afoot concerning your rule and its legitimacy." "What?" He says, "What nonsense have we got this time?" "Is it the Hellsteins?" "Ah, no, my lord." Says, "It's more to do with an old story. Something that has come by my ear when I was an outdoor. You know what they're like just now with their concern regarding the Sigmarian heresy. Well, they have started their own tales. And they are based in something that I imagine you have no knowledge of. None at all. You're not going to do that thing again, are you? I don't have time for your... Can you just get to the bloody point?" He says, "I'm already drunk." He says, "It's barely..." Looks up. "It's only 8:30. Fuck! I should go to bed." They said, "Oh, by the way, before I begin, apparently there's some scroll tax everyone's upset about." "I don't care." "Oh, very good. I have done my duty." "Do you mind if I sit down?" "Yeah." "All right, bloody hell. If you're going to do your bloody thing," he folds his arms, "at least let myself get comfortable." "It's like when we were together," he says, "assaulting Salzamund." He says, "They're not good memories. Not sure that your younger self would have said that. On that, my particular story concerns something akin to that, but not so much yourself and more your father. My father? He says, yes. Berthold. Oh, right. Says, and he appears to sober up. And if anything, go away a bit pastier and whiter. All right. They're not talking about him, are they? I thought it was going to be the legitimacy of my children or something. No. Those rumors are dead and gone now. Well, yes. What difference does it make anyway? I hold our sovereign right. Yes, well, your father. All right, out with it. And this is where we change our scene. 5 individuals are gathered in the Forstmark in Nordland, one of the largest provinces in the empire in terms of size, but also one of the least controlled. The Forstmark, or the Forstmark, is a great borderland between the Laurelorn forest and what accounts to the north of the empire. This is not a territory that is often walked by many, land that is claimed by the Nixa family, House Nixa. And at this particular time, some 50 odd years before the story is being told. The lands ruled by a certain Werner of House Nixa. None of the people here should be here. It's considered too dangerous. But each and every one of them had their own reasons to come. Dreams. Dreams. In the case of Berthold of House Torbringer, he had been dreaming of this particular clearing in this particular place in the Forstmark for the last year. This date, on this day. Wait for the Heimisnacht. Wait for the moon to fall. Then march. He knew he was going to come here with his wife. He dreamt about it again and again, and he even knew who'd sent the dream. When he'd become Graf, there was a host of things that he learned, the secrets of the realm, so to speak. And one of these was an ancient treaty with the Laurelorn Forest. An ancient treaty with the elves that had been consolidated all the way back in time, before Sigmar had even arrived in the Fauschlag. A treaty that had been laid down and signed in blood with the elves of the Laurelorn. Mutual protection would be a loose way of describing ancient language that good old Berthold, had literally no idea how to translate. He didn't want to show it to any of his law lords for fear that they would find something out from that they could use against him. So he'd been spending the last couple of years since his father died, gods, he wished his father hadn't died, since his father had died, attempting to learn the language. There's books on it. He hadn't really got past the introduction. But he knew that it contained, because he'd written the letters to the elves that he had to when he took, and they'd come back, a clause saying that when the Queen of the Wood called, he had to answer. Only once. And she called 2 years into the reign. And he'd been dreaming about what he had described repeatedly to his wife the 4 times he'd spoken to her these last 4 weeks as the witch in the woods that won't get out of his head. Ravens. He'd been dreaming of ravens. On the other side, his wife had been doing the same. Dreaming of ravens, the witch of the wood, and a flash of a face wreathed with black feathers. She'd woken up screaming a couple of times. Pretty freaking terrifying, particularly when it was like, wait! Oh no, she's not here. One time, she was quite convinced there was an entire spread of black wings over her bed. She pushed the maid out and cried. Quite the opposite for the Grand Master of the Knights Panther. She'd been only dreaming for 2 days, and her dream was quite clear. You're about to receive an order. You are going. Tell him. And you did. You explained it to him. I've been receiving those dreams. He immediately knew. That means I had to go too. At least I'm going to get a bodyguard. He was actually half terrified he'd have to walk out into the woods and just die? But apparently his father had done it. He even had a nice letter from his father where he'd explained it to his son that at some point the witch would call. Go. Keep the treaty in place. We don't want to go to war with them. It's not something that makes him feel very comfortable. But at the same point, on the day of leaving, his heart had never felt lighter. On the road, he had met up with the high priestess of the temple. High temple, indeed, in Sudfast in southern Nordland. Effectively your wife's confessor, although you've often described her as a bodyguard rather than confessor because it's an Ulrican. Exactly what gets confessed? Oh, I'm here to tell about my unburdening. Don't care, go sort it yourself. Ulricans are quite different thing, right? Quite different. You had returned to Sudfast for some business or another and had met, having also been plagued with dreams. You intended to leave by yourself if it wasn't for the fact that one of the Knights Panther in your temples came forward to say, Knights Panther, pardon me, Knights of the White Wolf, thank you, came forward to Knights Panther on the brain. Knights of the White Wolf came forward and said that he'd been having dreams as well of crows and an elf or a witch. And what did it mean? And it meant that 1 week later, they were all in the forest, Mark, having left their bodyguard behind, having tramped through this forest for 2 days, up to the glade that apparently they were going to meet the witch in. There'd been quite a lot of silence, long moments. It's quite clear that the relationship between the royal couple is like that. They don't talk much. There's not a great deal of chatter. However, as nerves begin to rise, as you reach the place where you're going to meet a witch, the practicalities of what you're about to do come forward. Fortunately, each and every last one of you are not just trained at war, you have all been on the front lines of war at one point in your lives, although you may be young. In some cases, the good Graf is a 10-year veteran at the tiny age of only
25.
10-year veteran already. Yeah, quite. But before we get there, one of the reasons I don't know what's going to happen, I'm going to mix these up. You've each got a very simple mission. And this mission is going to tell you to do something. You've got to do this. You have to do it. Don't go, there wasn't an opportunity. Bullshit. You've got ages to sort this shit out. Take your opportunity. You don't need to do it immediately. There is going to be a gap on here for you to fill in a name. Fill in the name now as soon as you get it. I have no idea how awkward or weird this is going to turn out. I don't know if this is going to work, not work. It depends on what you get. Okay.
God damn it.
I'm guessing already who's got what. Write a name in. Write a name in.
Eeny, meeny.
It's these little things that keep things interesting for us GMs, because I have no idea how this session's going to unfold, because already their characters have just changed. In some cases, in big ways. In other cases, barely at all. So, let us set the scene. You got a question?
I do have a question.
Is that a question that's not going to interrupt or confuse?
It's
Go.
If something on here says tell them,
Yes.
does it mean the character or the person playing
The character.
the character?
Character. It's always the character.
Character,
The player.
character.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, you got to speak to the character in time. Icky. Right. So let's set our scene. We are all mounted, making our way through the periphery of the Laurelorn Forest. You're aware that you're not more than maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 miles away from the border. Officially, this is all Nordland, right into the Laurelhorn. It's all Nordland. Unofficially, when you reach the border, the river, if you cross it, they will kill you. It's that simple. They will just kill you. It's well known.
The Nordlanders or
The elves.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
You don't cross that particular barrier. And you're going to a clearing that you know is here somewhere, and you're all deeply afraid maybe on the other side of the river. You just all feel that you're going to arrive there because you've been receiving dreams now for, in your case, ages. And the nerves are beginning to rise. What are you going to do? Who's going to vocalize first about their fear of what is about to occur? Oh, the discomfort. Yes.
Clarification question for you.
Mhm.
Is it just us?
Yes.
No retinue?
No one else, no retinue,
Nothing.
just yourselves.
Horses?
Okay, so why don't we use that as an opportunity to say, hey,
Who are we?
who are you? What do you look like?
Well, I am Grand Duke Berthold of House Toddbringer, father of Boris Toddbringer. But you can call me Bertie.
Bertie is dressed in the robes of, it's fair to say, a Grand Duke. Heavy, right down the back of his horse, almost trailing her on the ground, rimmed along the edges with wool fur. It looks expensive. The embroidery alone, down the back of that long cloak, must have taken months. Running wolves and castles down the entire length of it. Sitting at his side is Peak Leveler, the Runefang.
Ooh.
Peak Leveler, the largest of the Runefangs, known to be the largest. Some say the very first finished by Alaric the Mad, and he realized he'd made perhaps some dimension issues and ensured that later blades were slightly smaller. A blade so large that many of the Elector counts that have carried it have blade carriers to carry it on their behalf. Not the Duke. It's attached to his back and hangs off the side of the horse, but you know you are not getting it off your back without literally undoing the thing and pulling it out. You can't draw it from the back, it's too
it's
big.
impossible to.
It's wide. The blade is long, almost as long as he is tall. But, as is often the case with many of the Toddbringers, they like the threat that it poses. Now, the reality of it is, taking that thing out is really hard. It's the sword that he carries on his waist that he'll be using to stab someone with, unless he's in a particularly difficult position. But yeah, he's carrying his blade because he saw it in his vision. And he just didn't like the idea of a threat, an outside threat to his rule. This blade means a lot. He who carries the blade is the Elector. At least goes the old adage. Round his throat is a talisman with a wolf's head on it. The talisman of Ulrich. Marking him out as beloved of Ulrich, literally chosen by the god of war. Elector Count wears that. And that means that you sometimes ride for days without any sleep. You just go. You just don't stop. Ulrich is on your side. And when it comes to war, you don't tire. You don't stop. You just keep going. There's a small part of you really hoping that there'll be an ambush. You have been trapped in that castle for 2 years now. So, that's the good Grand Duke. Who's riding behind him?
I'm playing Mother Ingrid of House Helstein. She is the High Priestess of Ulrich and Sudfest, as we mentioned earlier. And she is in her early 30s and is, tall for a woman, about 5'10", and has blonde hair.
She is dressed in the black robes of a howling wolf, the talking priest of Ulrich, as they are sometimes referred to by outsiders. Just because they are the clergy, the clerics, so to speak, in no way means that they are not ready for war in all of its various shapes and forms. But they don't wear armor, unlike the Knights of the White Wolf, who are their protectors, who are the military wing of the cult. They massively outnumber the priests who tend to the temple. They are, in many respects, the commanders. You could argue. On the front of her chest is a howling wolf's head, tipped and howling at the sky. Unlike the Grand Duke, her robes are slightly frayed. She is wearing an older, let's call it a uniform. One that's been passed down to her, has been mended multiple times. But she is the High Priestess. As you all know, that means that she defeated the previous High, you would presume, Priestess, given it's from Sudfast, the previous High Priestess in a duel, which has caused some interesting political choices to happen in various Ulrican establishments. So, that's you. What's her expression as she's making her way along the road?
Quite serious, looking around, making sure there's no threats, especially to the Grand Duchess. Yeah, just
Riding beside her, behind her?
probably just behind her. So
Sounds good. All right, next. Who do we have next?
We have Cleric Captain Vorden of House Tugendheim, or Vorn to his friends. And he is a big fella, 6'7" tall, long blonde hair, long blonde beard, and he's about 28 years old. And his horse is behind the mother's. So similar kind of arrangement, a guardception, as we discussed earlier. And again, very kind of watchful air, kind of like looking around, listening, sniffing, alert to ambush.
He looks, by comparison to the rest of them, quite wild. His hair is out. It's only a single braid running through it. And armoured tip to toe. But for those of you used to being in Middenheim, where often their armour is lacquered a bright red to represent the wounds that come gushing forth from their various weapons. Often the same on the barding of the horses. His isn't. Instead, it's a smoky, polished sheen over the bare steel. And it gives it an oddly shadowy appearance. The same for all of the armour that he's wearing. Almost makes him look a little bit unfinished. Except for the blue tassels he's got on the edges and hanging off in various places from his armour and down the sides of his barding, marking him out as being as part of the Blue Company. The Blue Company of Wolves. Expression for him.
Alert, but with a little fittingly wolfish grin on the corner of his lips, because he's out in the wild. Even though we're going to something ordained, he feels a little bit like he's on the hunt. And there might be action. And that's not a bad thing.
Who's next? That's you.
Yeah, that would be me. So I'm playing Lady Magdalene of House Torlican.
Torlihelm.
Sorry.
Yep.
Not handwriting.
That's what I'm for.
And I am the Grand Master of the Knights Panther. I'm 6'2", because short characters. I'm 28 and I am platinum blonde. And I'm wearing some very new looking armour.
Very new.
Yeah.
Very ornate. Inscribed tip to toe with exceedingly fine detail. There is only one person here who looks finer than the Graf, and that is the Grand Master of the Knights Panther. Arguably the richest order of knights in the Empire. Arguably richer than the Emperor, any of the royal households. No. Richer than the Emperor or any of the royal households, because they control a significant amount of the trade between Marienburg down towards Araby. And I mean a significant amount of that trade. They're known for using their vessels to sink those who don't pay their tolls. Frequently.
Reasonable.
Quite. Her armor is blue. There is a panther's pelt hanging down. Is she wearing her helmet, or is her helmet sitting separate at the moment?
Given where we are, she's wearing a helm.
That sounds good. Helm up. What's on the top of her helm?
A very fierce-looking beast man.
Big beastman. Sitting on the top, depicting that she has at some point killed a very fierce-looking beastman. The Knights Panther preferring to depict their most ferocious kill upon their helmets.
The panther cloak,
Yes.
just because of where we are in the world and all that. Is that easy to get hold of, or is
No.
that something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, not at all. But you know that the Grand Master has 6 panthers herself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
As
a badge.
pets.
Right.
On chains.
Mm.
Yeah, quite.
Dancer, Prancer, Donner,
All right, to the last of them. Who do we have on the end?
I'm playing Grand Duchess Birgit of House Nixa. She is fair, blonde, loved by the people of Middenheim for her beauty. She is from Nordland. She's 23. She's only 5'3", but she has long flowing blonde hair. She's known as a trendsetter at court.
Look at that train. I think
right.
someone doesn't like the train, though.
But right now, she, although the trend at court is to have long nails, she has stubbornly kept hers short.
Short nails. Love it.
She is softly spoken in public, a lilting Nordlander voice, and at the moment she's looking thoughtfully at her husband's back, singing in a soft voice a Nordlander air about a lost love. Lost in the woods.
So that's our party. And as I said right at the beginning, who's breaking that semi-silence to discuss whatever it is you're moving towards?
Could you not do that?
No, do what?
Your humming tune makes it difficult to hear. Should there be anything?
Of course, Your Royal Highness.
Shut us up.
It's awkward. These are not apparently natural friends. And there's certainly a certain amount of tension kicking around.
You know, I've been thinking, husband,
Mm.
and she clops further up. Do you think little Boris should have a brother or a sister?
Boris is your son.
I know who Boris is, but does he have a sister?
No.
Okay. Mm. Would be good to keep the line strong.
Exactly. Exactly.
Are you suggesting?
Well, now we're out the fucking palace. We could actually have some fun.
I have been thinking similar thoughts, but I was hoping for more combative.
What?
A fight. I was
You'd
hoping for
rather
a fight.
stick your massive fucking sword in a beastman rather than like your smaller one in me. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Everybody should kill beastmen at least once in their lives.
I'm saying,
From the back.
well, there are certain things that one craves more than others.
Right. Well, I like fighting too, so let's get into a fight and then we'll see what happens after.
This more agreeable to me.
Fucking right. Claps back.
But he does say, Your Highness,
Oh,
back end.
oh, Your Royal Highness.
No, you. I've said it to you. I've
What?
acknowledged you as the Royal Highness as well.
Yeah, and then so
Yeah,
she
oh,
typed
right,
it back.
fine.
Sorry, Your
Fine.
Royal Highness and all that stuff
Yeah.
that we do.
Just sword. Moves slightly.
Perhaps when we get back, we'll set up a wrestling pitch, mud pit. I don't know. Something will help, right?
It's very common for temples of Ulrich to have training squares out in their. Give you a quick breakdown. Temple of Ulrich is normally broken into two general areas. One, the main temple building, and then the curtain wall all round it, which turns it into a fort. That curtain wall often holds all of the necessary buildings that are needed for a long-term siege. Everything from, smiths and various places for stores and weaponry and barracks and cavalry places, stables, you get the idea. And in the space between the curtain wall and the temple are marked out loose squares where the white wolves in particular fight almost incessantly. Whether they're practicing the weapons that they'll be using at war or just wrestling and training up their strength. The priests get involved with this as well. And the men typically go in loincloths and the women up in the Sudfast temple do the same, much to the amusement of visiting others. In the Sudfast temple, they're quite used to that shit. Visiting others, they are not used to that stuff. Indeed, there's a whole lot of chat back in Middenheim about going to visit the Sudfast temple. None of them ever do, but it's the sort of thing that they like to discuss because most of the White Wolves are basically one gigantic rugby club. It's a big boys' club discussing boys' things, and the idea of a temple full of girls, it's not full, it's a 50-50 mix, but yeah, that don't ruin their fantasy, just blows their mind. Then they'd have to go to Nordland.
They're lost.
Rude.
So, the idea, for example, of having yourself a big wrestle fest, not at all misplaced.
There you go.
The Grandmaster will pull her horse up alongside the captain's. Captain, a word before we get to where we're going. Let's drop back a little bit. So we
He's not back, but keep his eyes on the mother's back.
It has come to my attention, given my new role, that various things are going on, and a little birdie tells me that you're sleeping with the Emperor.
Now, you might not know this, but whatever they say that comes from their missions or their little cards is true. Is true.
I mean, not right at the moment.
Obviously.
Although, I could call my horse. Emperor.
Can I give you a moment to learn? Let's just say we'd like to keep it quiet, and if you don't want it to be made more widely known, you'll back my play when the time comes.
You can
There's
tell
a
how
good
the-
chat.
You can tell how the hell you like.
No.
No?
When it gets out, the Emperor will kill you.
Oh, okay.
He said it on the 20th, the 21st, the 23rd, the 39th, and the 50th time. And he means it. You know he means it. He is not a very sensible man. He tried to get out of it. That's why you're in the Sudfast temple.
Okay.
You're waiting for the summons. But he doesn't, you think, know where you are. Ooh, back my play. Ooh. The horses make their way along the road.
Mother,
Oh.
I've got a confession to make.
Sure.
I think the wrestling pit sounds amazing. Confession done, spiritually cleansed, thinking about you without your top on.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
An uncomfortable 5 minutes descend. And then it's broken.
Sword comes out.
As a raven flies in and drops down into one of the top branches and just eyes you with its black beady eyes as your horses pass down before it. Its head cocks from side to side as you make your way by.
Born.
Give a nod to the reverse.
Follows the mother's lead. And
3 more fly by, swoop past, and then swoop up.
Yes, Your Royal Highness.
I don't like that.
No, we definitely awake.
it is the witch in the woods.
Exactly.
The woods. You have not grown up here, so you don't remember it.
As another 3 land at different points in trees and look down. Then the calls become frequent. And over the course of the next few minutes, 2 becomes 20, becomes 200, becomes 2,000. Until the trees on all sides are bowed with beady eyes gazing down at you. As the murder
That's a lot of
watches
nodding.
on.
That's a lot of birds, Your Royal Highness.
I don't like
Your
it.
Royal Highness, sorry, wrong accent.
Is there anything untoward about them? Bar the obvious.
Fucking hell. She says under her breath.
With my realm of expertise, Your Royal Highness.
The Grandmaster
You have to
pinches her nose.
actually
she's
speak
tired.
up to be heard. It's
Yeah.
loud and drawing closer.
Oh, that's good. It's loud, so that means if I'm next to him, they probably won't be able to hear me.
Yeah.
I wonder, Your Royal Highness, while I have you, it's a matter of some import. I've been trying to find the right opportunity to talk with you about this.
Right, talking.
It's about your father.
What about my father?
Inching closer.
He's-
Your mother.
I mean, will we eventually get here? He's also my father.
Any problems with this socially?
Well, that would be another royal bastard. If true.
And he's older.
But the chance of it being true is, in your mind, altogether too high. Diplomatically, not great. Not great given his family line. Not great at all.
Right.
You didn't know of this one, but if that's the case, then your father and his... Okay, that might make sense of why they walked out of court just last year. Maybe they know. Huh. That might make... things have been difficult back in Middenheim. I mean, you've got absolute authority, absolute rule, but every time you ask people to do things, it's slow.
Right. Well, Ulrich and duty. Spread the seed, make things stronger. Is this going to be a problem?
Not from me, Your Royal Highness.
Good to know.
Whilst they're talking, the
Rub the
mother
ring
will
fang.
gather the other woman and be like,
Eyes the rune fang.
he'll gather the other woman. And be like, of course, he's fucking asking the other man for his opinion on.
Well, that's difficult.
I mean, they're ravens. They really need to know.
As we start moving out into the clearing. Not a clearing, the clearing. Up ahead, a single standing stone. As you turn the corner and you see it. It is about 30 people high. Very tall, very slender. Thinner at the bottom, it flares out and heads up towards a tapering top.
It's not like a spearhead type shape.
Similar, yeah. But old, very worn. Where if there was ever any markings on it, they have gone to time. Covered in lichen, moss, and various growths at the bottom. All around this clearing are ravens, crows, a few magpies, a lot of corvids. That was more fun than it should have been. All gathered around. as you feel small, surrounded by this dark wave on all sides. The ruffles of their feathers, the call.
Is it colder here, Mother?
Got my coat.
Thank you.
Well, you've arrived, you presume.
This bodes well.
What are you doing?
Right. Anybody want to?
Will you help me down, Your Royal Highness?
Yes. Your Highness, I will. Can I? How easy is it for me to get off the horse with the?
Not as easy as you'd
Yeah,
like.
with the giant sword. I don't.
I mean,
She'll
you've,
look at
you've
him and
practiced this quite a lot,
Right.
but she knows that it's not easy for you.
Do you want me to help you down first?
Nope. Step off.
Okay, do yourself a test. You're only going to fail in 96 to 00. You surely won't.
Wow. Yeah, 54.
There we go. Not a problem at all. As you, all the practice is paid off. As you get down, the blade of Peak Leveler drags slightly in the ground as you make your way across, causing the grass to pass behind you with low wave.
But he's a big boy, right? in
Ah,
terms
yeah,
of-
yeah.
And not just like chunky, but
Yeah.
yeah, right. Fine. Let's do this. You'll relatively.
She's tiny.
Yeah, exactly. like touching around waist sort of thing. And it's not. It's just a plonk. Like, I have moved a box. There you are.
Thank you, husband.
You have never seen so many birds gathered in one place before. Ever. And this is not what your dream showed. Although you suppose it sort of was. It was lots of ravens and... What's going to happen? So you three are still mounted. Are any of you getting down? Are you still staying? Are anyone doing anything else? What's the plan?
I think the cleric captain would just like to sort of scout around the clearing just to.
Have a good look around. Many of the trees, you note, are scored on the northern side with odd markings. Quite with odd markings. I just realised what you said. Oh, well done. They're scored on the northern side with odd runic markings, and that you note seems to be the case for several of them. Down the south side, several what looks like wicker animals or something similar are hanging from the trees. Entrails.
Oh.
Slightly deeper in. Looks like, do yourself a test. And again, 9600 is all the only thing you'll fail on.
All good.
Successes?
50. 5.
5. 50.
I rolled 50.
You both are you shagging the emperor.
Yep. You think that's bear? Bear. They've got bear entrails hanging around here for some reason or another.
Like
And
deliberately placed, not just
yeah,
not like a bear exploded.
your nose flares. It's relatively recent, dead within the last day or so. Huh. Down in the depths of the forest, you see your first sighting. It's a human.
Human.
Yeah. About, you would guess, 40, 50 yards into the wood, and then darts behind a tree. What's everyone else doing?
The mother will get down and then offer her hand to the Grand Master.
Thank you. This new armor. I miss my old armor. It rubs terribly. And she kind of,
Uh-huh.
sort of manhandles.
And as you get down, she will whisper to you, "You look wonderful, my dear."
Can any of you two do anything about the noise? Anything at all?
Put your fingers in your ears.
No, that's not what I mean.
Shout.
Just shout. That's what I'm, doing without. I'm protecting the listeners here.
That's the cleric captain. I guess it's maybe like a whistle might be what they might do in the battlefield to get attention. So you like whistle and like flash out in language battle
Mhm.
that there's somebody spotted in that direction.
Are we all fluent?
We all know language
Mhm.
battle, right?
Yep. All of you. You have all been to war.
Mhm.
You all know language battle.
Cool. Handy.
As they get a little louder. And a rising of birds from the forest around. Heck, there was a lot more of them than you first realized. As they go up and they begin to swirl in the air, almost like a maelstrom, with you in the center.
Inches closer to the mother.
As the sky gets darker and darker yet. Are we doing anything?
Kind of just waiting for things to happen. Does the mother have what kind of weapon would you use? Is it like a
Axe.
Axe. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably take that out.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Half out.
I don't.
Ready.
What would she wield?
She'll have a blade.
Oh,
Sword.
Yeah, sword.
Mhm.
Very good. We'll take out her sword. No, she'll put it away. It's okay for a mother to do it, but not
Sounds good.
not a person.
Mhm.
Not
Shrug
the,
off the cloak
the clergy.
Mhm.
slightly. I don't know if I've got a better cloak, like a more formal meeting
Yeah,
cloak.
we're sitting on underneath.
Right,
Just- yeah,
excellent.
pop
So
on
travel
back.
cloak back on the horse.
Yeah. And then silence. They all stop almost at once. They're still flying. Flap, flap, flap. Can be heard. But they've all fallen silent as they swirl. And the wind is palpable, whipping at your hair slightly as they spiral further and further.
Well, it's disconcerting, but at least it's shut up.
And then high above, pair of wings that falls. That's no crow. It's far too big. Its wingspan.
Sorry.
Its wingspan is in excess of 20 yards. Huge black wings that flap and flap as she comes down and stops on the top of the stone pillar. She's wearing loose-fitting black rags that hang off her. Clearly an elf. Her feet grip, bare feet, to the stone as she looks down. A long, thin crow crown atop her elven brow. Blonde hair picked up by the crow wind on all sides as she looks down and then just hops down with a flap of her wings. The buffeting is enough that strength tests are required unless you're in full plate. You're fine. You're fine.
How strong?
95.
95 is a fail. The priestess is going down.
86.
You're going down.
Just 1-0 success.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay, you can feel it. And you go buffeted down. Drop down into the grass. As she stops and looks at the group. And for a moment, it feels like you're looking directly into the eyes of some ancient creature, not a sentient elf thing you could talk to, but possibly the same danger you might feel if a griffin were to land in front of you. That idea that this is a creature that very likely it may just eviscerate you.
Lets out small whimper.
Cool tests.
Question for you,
Yes.
Bertie.
Yes.
Based upon upbringing,
Yes.
being in an environment where he feels slightly threatened, surely that's better than actually being at court right now.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no cool test?
Oh no, you still did the cool test.
Well, 87?
Yeah, you passed.
Fine.
Yeah, it's cool's high.
Okay.
Totally fine. 8 successes too. Good. How,
Two successes.
Yep.
65?
Yeah, it's pass.
0 success.
That's enough. Yeah, we're all cool. At least we're not going.
Yep.
As it drops down, it's about 9 feet tall.
Well,
An elf. You feel tiny as she steps forward. Her feet because she's right up on her tiptoes, look almost elongated like a bird's, with the way that her knees are bent as she steps forward, her body shifting in ways that they shouldn't. The wings flap slightly, and as they do, it's a of air. As she leans forward, steps back. Humans. I am Alamenowith. I have come from the celestial canopy. You are the king. By ancient treaty, I demand your service. I have something I need. Kin of mine have stolen something I needed now. He says, I will not let my sister win this day. She looks around.
Right.
Nice. Huh?
I'll take
And
it.
she folds down, her knees up, and perches somehow on the ground. Her hair settled on her shoulders. I am the voice of Murai Heg. I see all. There is nothing I do not know. I see your hearts. They are to be tested. I have no apology for what is to come. We have a treaty and I have served my side, although it has pained me.
What's the do I know this? Is there like a greeting or like a?
You have no idea. You're
Right.
trying to read it. You're just going to go for Royal Highness. Sounds good.
She's the queen.
She's probably a queen.
He'll do a bow, like a foot forwards
He-
bow,
Tips her head.
but in doing so as well, just hoik up the missus, slightly roughly, probably, not meaning to. Just that's who he is.
And she'll curtsy.
That's
As she sees her husband bowing, she will do a curtsy. But pretty awkwardly, because she's also being lifted.
Yeah.
Words must be spoken swiftly, so they have the effect I wish. To the paths you will go, to the paths you will travel, you will be tested and you will fail. But you will retrieve something, one of which you may keep, the other of which is mine. You will meet with one of my kin, who fell many, many years ago. She cannot hurt you. She is bound in place. Her minions can. There's tips. You must be at your best. You will not all survive this day.
Brilliant. I, Grand Duke Berthold of House Toddbringer, have travelled here to...
Toddbringer!
Yes.
Yes. She says, you bear death upon your back. The time has come. The time has come. It has come too quickly. She says, and stands up. I must utter. I must speak. I must say certain things. Who is the one who sleeps with the Emperor? Who bears his soul in the bed and regrets it each time? Speak! She says, and her voice rings, and suddenly, birds rise on all sides. Cool test! 8 success is required! It's a toughie!
No.
No.
I'm sweating.
As well.
You pass.
Fail.
Cringe down!
Hand.
Holding hands. And anyone responding to this?
Well, I suppose Born is like like behind everybody, so hoping that nobody sees, so just sheepishly.
Meanwhile, the
And
grandmaster
her head tilts in your direction,
quirks a grin.
which is when you realise she's completely blind. Her eyes are silvery with sheens of purple caught in the light. As she twists. It is you I taste your blood on. My condolences to your family. And she points with a hand off to her left and off to the side. Scuttering out from the trees are some humans. They come up and they prostrate themselves. She goes up and makes her way over, bird-like, looks down at them, her black crown leering down. Humans take them to the silvery water. Then looks over. Go with them. They will show you where you need to go. Claim both. She says, both. You will keep one, I will keep the other. Payment will be met. Your family will rise because of this. And she spirals upwards, the wings flapping tight behind her, leaving clawed feet trailing as she spirals off and then heads off past all the birds, which scatter. The humans stay down. One of them gets up. There's 5 of them. One of them has fake pointy ears. Wow, that's a thing. They look like peasants if ever you saw peasants in your life. One of them has quite the scraggly beard. The other one is completely clean shaven. 2 women as well. As they look at you, their heads down.
Well, I thought I'd have to say more, but it appears that whatever we have to achieve, we have to retrieve. Mother, could you deal with these people?
She almost told the Grand Duke to just do it himself, but she holds back. You can see it on her face. Goes, of course, Your Royal Highness. And then she'll step up to the people like, please bring us to the silvery waters.
Aye. Have you made your prayers and your benedictions? Have you done your prayers? The path is dangerous. If you don't pray, they might reap you.
Who?
The reapers in the forest. You don't pray to them and give them the proper offerings. You should reap.
All right. What offerings?
I can't see. I'm not allowed.
Can you nod if I list things?
The offerings are up to you.
All right. Guess serves me right for saying the same
And
thing.
from behind, one of them reaches forward and tugs on the one who's just been speaking. Looks back and says, you did well.
Is it far to these silvery waters?
Aye, it's about half a day. You can't take your horses. They won't last. Unless you didn't want them. Maybe that's your offerings.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. She'll turn around to the others and say, if we can't take them, they're probably gonna die here otherwise. Might as well.
Aye.
They're like a bloody people, so they'd probably appreciate horse meat fresh.
I saw bear entrails fresh hanging in the forest. I wonder if those are offerings.
Better the horses.
Aye, they were our offering. To ensure that she did not slay us.
Did you kill the bear yourself?
They were reaped.
Right, so we've got to take our horses with us and they'll take them from us instead of us. I love my horse.
I like mine too.
I mean,
I haven't given it a name or anything because that's stupid.
Well,
But
mine's called Godric.
of course, Your Highness.
mine's called Boris.
What's your first name?
Name my son. Name my son as well.
You're riding.
They're all called
Boris.
Boris.
I ride him every night.
All right.
Oh my gate.
What?
Sorry.
Don't you ride
You're-
Boris every night too? What's your horse called?
Rudolph.
It's all right.
they said offerings though. That usually doesn't mean alive.
But they said that they didn't kill the bear was reaped. So presumably, like if we pray and say, here's the horse, Boris, for your
Safe passage.
safe passage.
Yeah, right.
She let me pass her one. Sorry, Boris.
I'll buy you a new one.
Do priestesses, high priestesses, do like, I don't know, not rituals, but like
Blessings.
sermons or something?
Yeah,
like,
really not your style.
right?
No,
it's not
no,
really
they're very
like
practical.
Uh-huh.
You know, well, that'll be the Allstead.
Boris,
Done.
Boris is a mayor, by the way.
An absolute mare.
Well,
My name's Berthold.
No, your name is Bert. I bet your middle name. They're all
Boris.
called Boris.
They're all called Boris.
They're all
Boris
called
Berthold Heinrich, actually, is your
Right,
name.
fine.
But Bertie, to your friends.
But that doesn't in any way get confusing.
No, not in the slightest. Yes, what?
all right. Well, whatever's in there. You got our horses. Enjoy.
Peasant shaking the head.
Right.
Okay.
No. Do we take the horses with us?
No.
Looks in your direction. Should I talk?
Yes.
Hey, no,
Fucking talking to you.
no, not till we get to the river.
Right.
Oh, okay. You made it sound like it was.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
You-
Let's take a horse.
You'll give us the nod when it's time.
Aye. So, the nod when it's the time happens about 3 hours later. We have a stop for food halfway there. They very much keep to themselves, whisper amongst themselves in Nordlander tones. You don't really need a heads up. There is a lot of bones. The vast majority are human. Pretty grim. And it's quite clear the bones stop at the water's edge. The sacrifices are made along here. As what you need to do is you tie it up, you make your offering to the wood, and the wood will take them.
Right then.
One at the back adjusts his ears.
We'll try not to make eye contact because we'll start giggling.
So what sacrifices are we or are we not making individually? Let's start with the good king himself. Well, Duke. The Grand Duke. The Elector Count
I give my wife.
of Middenheim. What is he offering?
That's why they don't have any more children.
Best marriage.
I'm trying to think, and this, so I don't know Ulrichens well enough. But things that would be usually seen towards wolves and things like that, right? Which are presumably similar.
Going on a
elements.
hunt and taking it yourself is considered to be the best option. You would go out, you would divest yourself of almost anything other than the basic, simple weapons that you would require. Preferably, if you're going proper old school, just a stick. And you'd go out there and you'd find the thing yourself. You would take it down and tie it up. That would be the proper Ulrican way of dealing with it. Rather than offering something that is yours, you would offer something from the wood itself. That would be his natural place to think, but that is not necessarily what he'll do.
We're in a forest full of corvids, right?
Yeah, presumably.
Scavengers, things that are already dead. It'll be the horse.
Tying up your horse, making a few brief words, offering it to the wood.
No words, just thought. Wood, spirits, whatever you are. This is my horse. It is for you. And he'll do the deed, knowing that they're scavengers, so not left standing.
Mhm.
Go and also do it in a relatively humane way. The old knife to the heart sort of thing. Take all my stuff off it first.
And get out of the way as it falls.
Yeah.
Ah,
Done.
Hello, the priestess. What is she doing?
Munching on some nuts as she's pondering,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the bones.
Mm-hmm.
Does she even know anything about hunting?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has she seen
Nalrican.
lots of,
She's
like-
had to survive by herself with nothing, not even clothes, dropped off in the middle of a forest in the winter as part of her initiation, to conclude her initiation. So, yeah, she knows quite a lot about survival out in the middle of nowhere.
Did she notice any like actual
Oh,
trails? And
Oh, yeah,
things?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The forest is alive, very much alive, in fact. If she wants to go hunting, there will be no issue.
What are the chances we still have our horses if we leave them here? Probably not high, huh?
Well, we could try, mother. What all we could want us to do, no? Do it ourselves.
Yeah, I would. You would.
You two going hunting? Sounds good. Do yourself a test, please. The Grandmaster of the Knights Panther. What's her plan? There is no way she's going to be able to take her horse's barding back if she sacrifices her horse. And it's really good Grand Magisterial, I suppose. Armor. It's, yeah.
It's only money.
Yeah,
but I
that's also true.
I was told very specifically before I left the chapter house not to screw this up because it's brand new. So you hear this, wait for me.
You're stalking up as well. Do yourself an outdoor survival check. How do we do with our test?
I passed.
Number of successes?
0, 0,
Zero.
3.
One success.
Wow, they did not do well. How about yourself?
I rolled a 57, but
Okay, so you got 5, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, because you can do a combined test.
Mhm.
How about the good Graf? Ina.
She just doesn't want to kill Boris.
So there'll be 3. Good to yourself an outdoor survival test as well. Is they're all going to come back with various small creatures as an alternative to the horse option. He.
63?
Blood drippling down his
Is
body.
that a pass?
Yeah, absolutely is.
6 successes.
So 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, in total. Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Mm.
2 hours later, we are done with everything. Your horse is now very dead and has been left out there. Various creatures have both been tied up and strung up, depending on your own personal preferences. And we are good to go as they just wait.
She, Birgit's gonna do something extra on hers, as she say, cut her hand and drop her blood onto it, and cut a lock of her hair and put that. See, I give you the blood from my body, the hair from my head. Didn't do anything. I don't want to be dead. Go.
So, you, these. So, yep, right.
They wait for you to tell them what to do.
Is it done? You happy?
Not for me to say, my lordship.
Right, fine. Well, show us the next step then.
And you look after this horse.
We're coming with you.
Well, on the way back.
We're not coming back.
Just let the horses go.
Slapped them up and send it back the way we came.
Clatter, clatter, clatter. Right. We're going down to the blood fort.
Well, that sounds
Great.
encouraging.
Cheery.
Delightful.
You ready? Aye. Aye. And the 4 of them make their way off and head down a small, you could call it a path, but it's barely a path down the edge of the river. Oh, about half a mile, where the water widens and it almost looks like a weir. It looks deepish, but completely clear. It's not filled with blood or any other horrors. Although as you draw closer, you realize that the weir is created from bones. Collected bone down its entire length, some of which jut out of the water, washed completely clean, blanched by the sun. They come forward, they bow once, look over at the forest at the other side, bow again, look over at the forest at the other side, bow again, and then go into the water and start wading their way across, looking at the forest line constantly, as if at any moment they expect something horrific to happen.
Follow suit.
Are we supposed to be going with him?
I guess so.
Speak up.
Should I go first?
Fine.
Clank, 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 clank.
Slosh, slosh.
How high does the water go up?
And he's
Right there, on her, it's up to about here. She's going to require a little bit of help.
It's up to there on me. It'll be up to about there on her.
He's
6'7". She's 5'3".
Fair point. Well made. Blob, blob, blob.
Piggyback?
Yeah, she's going to require a bit of help.
I'll give you a piggyback.
She doesn't really want to be carried.
She
by the
may- she's
Grand
gonna have to
Master.
be.
She'd prefer to be carried by her husband.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Your Highness. Come on. Fireman's lift. Undignified. Stop swearing!
This reminds me of our wedding night.
Oh, if only I were deaf.
Is that because you're not wet? Your Royal Highness.
My feet are wet.
Must have been a strange evening.
Takes all sorts.
Hey. I can only hold that for.
While you're making your way across, the determination as to how good your various offerings has been made. And it was found a little bit wanting.
Oh.
So I'm going to roll to see who they've decided is going to take the place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 10 will be, 2. And I'll roll twice. And if I roll 10s again, it will be even more.
Godric was a really good fucking horse.
Okay. I'm now going to roll to see how much damage. 42 damage to a peasant.
Okay, fine.
Crack and skull out the other side as a bolt, an arrow, hits, flecked with black feathers. And they just keep on going. Don't make any shout outs or any calls. They try to pretend nothing has happened as that one falls into the bone weir. As they make their way over. May the blessed be. As they start to mutter underneath their voices. And then they reach the other side, as do you. Apparently, they didn't like those ears.
Was it the one with the fake ears?
Oh.
Understandable.
The shaft of the arrow itself is a pale, ashy black colour to go very nicely with those lovely black feathers. One of them goes, he was reaped. He's been blessed by the forest.
That's blessing.
It's better than the alternative. Which is where you're going. Come with me. Right, it's not too far. He says, we'll be there before evening. I hope we'll be there before the evening, before the forest wakens.
It just gets worse and worse.
He says, didn't touch the trees. They don't like it. They don't like it.
Just
Just
around forest.
be very careful. Follow my path. Don't go another one. and dinna touch the trees. If you hear anyone calling out, dinna listen. If you hear any birds, don't look up. In fact, if you hear anything, just ignore it and just follow me, all right? Off to the side, a slight silent sob from the woman behind him. It's all right. It's all right, Hen. It's all right. They only took one of us this time. I'm ready if you are, my lords and ladies. Reaches the edge of the wood, takes out his knife, and with a well-scarred hand, cuts it and drops blood onto the plants. The blood is absorbed. It goes into the leaves, the heavy leaves of the undergrowth. Aye, you should all do the same.
Does it have to be your hand?
Aye. You could do your foot, I suppose.
Birgit's
Cool
already
test
got a
from
cut
everyone.
on her hand.
Again, it's only a 9600 where it all goes wrong.
Crit.
Oh, well done.
8 successes.
Yeah, good,
I'm
good.
rolling
Great,
so low.
lovely, no problems
Just
at all.
0 success.
That's better. That's really hesitant. Oh, really? How much blood does it have to be? That was too deep. Oh no. Well, that's a bleeder. Oh, I'm gonna clench that. Dribble away.
I mean, typical high priestess, right? Not doing it by hand. oh, you're gonna give a bit of. I'm gonna give a lot of fucking blood. What I'm giving.
And it all gets absorbed. Mist starts to rise through all sides, and in the distance you hear a. The witch is abroad, he says. Then he look up. She takes those who look. She doesn't like to be seen. He says, be wary of the witch. Be wary of the witch. In the back, he said, I think they've got a deal with the witch. The witch will let them through. Aye, the last lot thought that too, though, eh? Dice of Doom, everyone.
Right.
Okay, that means everybody's rolling a d10 if you've forgotten from previous streams. And we have
9.
doubles.
Do we
9,
have-
3, 5.
Do we have fate points?
Fate points?
Fortune.
No, fortune points,
Fortune
yeah.
points, sorry.
And yeah, people can die here. 3.
Oh, we have 3.
1.
2 3s.
Do we? How many?
9.
Yeah, you've got one fortune point each. If you're noble, you can add +1. You're all noble. So you've all got 2.
Two.
So you can
40.
change. It's one of you.
Yeah, I'll change mine. So I'll use I'll write it down. I'll use a fortune point.
Move it by 1. We all good?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're good.
Where are you, my lad? I can hear your father. Where are you, Boris? Get off the horse, Boris! You can all hear.
Birgit's
then-
holding Bertie's hand really tight.
Boris, you've taken my crown. You should never have sent the assassins. Boris. And then a child's giggle. Another bastard, Boris. It says, how many do we need to take care of? As you start here screaming. Children screaming. You hear your mother screaming at your father, going, your line may be cursed, but the only time it's not cursed is when you're fucking bastards! Legitimate children, look at them! Fucking dead on their feet! Bertie's broken! He can barely walk! But look at that! The third bastard we've found, that one's galloping off without even a fucking horse! And you hear, calm down, wife, lest I clip you again.
And you thought it was bad.
What I heard from that is you have a half brother who's a centaur. Awesome.
Clearly, the center of attention.
That's it.
Um,
we have a half brother who's a centaur.
Yeah.
That Beastman is
As you make your way through, up ahead, The guide stops and goes, one of the spirits is here. Keep your head down to the ground. Do not look at it. You can hear it, the rustling of the leaves, and then as if wind swirling through it. And from where you are, you see a pair of feminine legs pass by.
Look down, don't look at it.
Along the edge of the legs, a sudden hardening of bark
I didn't see that, it's fine.
as it
Not looking.
ripples across, and then feminine legs again. They pass by you, right in front of you. Elven, thin. Cool tests from you two. Just you two. The rest of you are fine. Just you two.
One success.
One
That's good.
success.
No, that's good. That's enough. That's enough to hold your
Holding
place.
it together.
As you make your way through, and then the wind begins to rustle and smoothly to begin with, and more roughly rustle through the leaves. And you hear a as they stop again. And one of them takes out a blade. A blessed offering for the forest. We are here on the Queen's command. Anyone looking up?
No.
Weather the storm.
Oh, but maybe.
Warm air washes over you. And it smells ever so slightly fetid, like breath over stale. And then a crunch, crunch, crunch through the forest again. And then singing in the distance. Really pretty singing. Really pretty willpower test singing. Not cool willpower, so we're going to be, I know your willpower's up to stats here, so
37.
good, we're fine.
Uh-oh!
I'm going to use one of my 2 fortune points for that 0, 0,
Oh.
0.
I got 000.
20!
I'll be
That,
doing
they
the same.
cancel each other out.
So that's either a fumble or a crit, depending on my
What'd you roll?
willpower at 77.
77, you passed.
0 successes pass.
That's good. That's all that's required. Everyone else good?
One success.
One. Creep, creep. Stop the singing. One of the peasants goes,
Oh.
and just you hear her moving off into the forest. And then the screams begin. It's actually horrific. This happens in real time over 5 minutes as you're making your way further. Ahead, the man who's leading you stops as he pushes his way forward. And then the corpse swings through the path that you're in by its own gut, entrails holding it up, as the body opened up in a varieties of ways, skin sloughed free, loose, bits of entrail, and yes, cool test, please.
But we're not looking anywhere.
I would love to see you could avoid that.
78?
Yeah, you're good. It's cool. And you're over 100 and cool, so
Oh,
yeah.
right, cool.
You're all over 100 and cool. So as long as you don't roll 9600s, you're fine.
Right, fine. Yeah.
3 successes.
Yep, we're good. Swing, swing,
A
swing.
0 levels of.
Yeah, you're not happy. Yeah, not happy. That's enough to bring a shudder and a tear to the eye as you have to carefully pick your way around this bloody, ruddy mess. Blood everywhere. An arrow flies right by your head. Cool test.
Yay.
It'd be a really funny one to fumble.
6 success.
You're fine. You're fine. Your hair shifts with it.
She curses under her breath.
And then, almost out of nowhere, the forest parts, and ahead, a great silvery pool of water. And I do mean silvery pool. This is no metaphor. The water itself has almost got the appearance of mercury. And it reflects all of the surrounding trees, the reeds that are rising out of the water, reflected perfectly in turn, and it is mirror flat.
So it doesn't even really look like water at all. It's more like a mirror.
You presume this is where you're going. Peasant goes, this is it. It's late though, eh? You're not meant to go in at night. But we're not meant to camp out here either. What do you think we should do? I don't know. I've never been out this far, not this late. We always have a guide. I didn't know what to do. This isn't normal. I know. I don't think we're supposed to be here.
And yet here we are.
I think we need to like maybe do the thing before we go in.
Define the thing.
Like, you know, the baby thing.
Excuse.
Now's really not
Really?
the time for shagging.
What? But we might die, and then
Then
what if
we'll...
he dies? It's gonna be awful.
One of you are going to die.
Exactly.
There's no doubt the seer has said so. Everything she says happens. The Witch of the Wood. She's the Witch of the
There's
Wood.
no nearby trees either. Like
There's trees all around.
no, but like, but we've parted out of
Yeah,
the
you're
trees.
sitting by the banks of
You
the...
like in the old ways, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there.
It's very old
Right.
way.
You lot look that way for an extended period of time.
We're doing this, right?
Come on.
okay. Right, we're doing this.
Picture it.
Like the good old Middenlander way. Into the forest.
But not touching any trees.
Not touching any tree.
No. Hands on knees.
Like wolf
The
style,
spirit-
I've got you.
The forest rise up and approve. Many of them gather to watch. Little creatures coming and melding out of the trees,
Don't laugh
half
at that.
see-through, as they look down with large goggling eyes.
Laughing
Why?
already.
Some of them ape what's happening up at the top. Little fanged faces as they look down. One bites deep into your heel.
Oh,
It might not hurt. They're not, strictly speaking, material. Oh, it hurts. Yeah, it's not much. 2 wounds. Okay, that takes your total down to 41.
wow.
She'll be lucky if she doesn't conceive a changeling.
That's true.
Said no man,
You
not
shut your
watching.
fucking mouth.
Born.
We're not looking, we're not deaf.
As it reaches, let's call it a crescendo, singing begins to light up in the distance, and I do mean light up, as low ethereal voices begin to swirl between the leaves and the trees.
Maybe that's what we
Off
should all
in the
be doing.
distance, pairs of glowing eyes lift up over the opposite side, and the water itself occasionally shudders.
Nothing strange
Shudders.
at all is going to happen from this.
Shudders.
Never felt more alive.
Shudders. And shudders.
I think he's done.
And then silence. All the eyes disappear. The glowing lights in the distance go, and you didn't realize just how dark it had got until all of that light was gone and you're plunged into almost midnight blackness, except for that glowing silvery sheen that is rising up from the mirrored waters. Yeah, you're done.
Wait.
Job done.
All right.
Job done.
Back we go.
Miss Lincoln, what did you do to her?
Nothing that I know of. You okay?
She's pulling your leg. I'm just fine.
All
She's
right.
bleeding down by her
Right.
feet.
You sure?
Something bit me.
Oh, great. I think we should bind that up. You don't want to give any more blood than you're intending to.
I didn't bite you there.
Dark. The 2 peasants look
Okay.
terrified.
I shall pull out one of my Knights Panther handkerchiefs. They're all branded. It's like my towels. And to wrap it up.
Wrap that up. Little golden panther head symbol, little crown sitting over the top,
yeah.
denoting you as part of the personal bodyguard to the Graf himself.
Thanks, Maggie.
Feel a lot better. Actually.
Thanks. It's nice not to be called Grandmaster all
So, Silvery Waters, 2 cowering peasants. What's our plan? You kind of don't feel tired at all, even though it's got dark, because let's be honest, the adrenaline's pumping pretty high. This is not your average festag. This is abnormal. What's our plan?
We go in.
There we go in.
We asked that.
Look down at the peasants.
What we're supposed to be doing here? What happens if it's daylight normally?
I've never gone in. I don't know.
So
So we're
we,
supposed to go in.
we just go in.
I've taken you here. You're the one that you know. And looks over and she goes, "Aye, they know. We don't know. We don't do that. We're just the guides. Aye, it's our ancestral job, like our parents before us and our parents before them, since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time," says the other one. "And we've lost 2 today. We've lost 2. The forest is hungry, I think. It's hungry."
When we were speaking to the Witch of the Woods,
And just opposite where you are, on the tree line to the other side, Morsley rises pool. And it casts its green light across the pool, and the pool shimmers and parts.
Oh.
Wow.
And there is a vined door. They drop down, put their heads right down to the ground, and start mumbling a prayer. The vines twist and twirl around what appears to be almost oaken sides. The water merges with these twists, just causing it to fade off into almost nothingness to either side. It shudders slightly, and you think, something similar to from the depths of the darkness of the door.
like, I did think that the witch seemed to indicate that time was of the essence. So I think we should just go in.
Let's go in.
This looks like a sign.
Yeah, I guess so. As they're going forward, Ingrid will grab Magdalene's arm, I guess, whatever, just to keep her back a little bit and say, "I know it's not like the best timing, but we might not come back, so not really good at this." She'll make sure that they're like a little bit further away, I guess. "I'm in love with you. Just so you know, you don't need to answer. That's fine. But thought you might want to know."
A wry smile sort of breaks across
You
her
knew.
face.
Oh.
She goes, "That's the nicest news I've had in the last 3 weeks. Let's try and make sure we both survive this."
Both survive. Who is stepping first into the darkness that yawns beyond?
Born, go.
Boom. Okay, that darkness is beyond the black you've ever seen before. Okay, that's not scary. You're fine. This is not natural. This is 6 successes required on your cool test. This is properly difficult.
Is the high priestess blessed?
No.
Okay, she'll still do an
I
prayer
guess you
to
would.
Ulrich.
I rolled 5. I'm going to spend a fortune point to make it 6.
Oh, love it.
Nice.
He steals himself.
Hmm.
Would not look too
Yep,
be
quite.
good to look weak in front of the cat. So
As you make yourself ready, and then step into the mud. Squelch, squelch, squelch. Towards the portal.
I was expecting something more portentous.
It is altogether quite mundane to begin with, and then you reach the portal itself.
There we go.
Beyond, you think there might be a passageway. You're not quite sure. It's wreathed with something. You desperately try to form something from that something in your mind. Your brain starts conjuring images. Is this vines? Is it guts?
It's witchy shit. That's what it is. Best not think about it too deeply.
And you step in, and he steps forward, and you hear a whoop as he vanishes.
Fuck.
But the door remains.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah, that's fine.
It has indeed swallowed him. Who's next?
And sword out.
Mhm.
Right. See you on the other side.
Can we not go together?
Fine.
Marvin's left.
Right. Well, for all reckon all that. Mother, always hated you.
Harsh! Love it. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Cool test, please. Still 6 successes required. It's a toughie.
Is it?
Yep. Easy
8
pass.
successes.
Do I get a bonus because he's holding my hand?
Yeah.
6 successes.
Way! As the pair of them go in. Gosh, that was rude. But I'll reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite.
Right.
Love shines brightest in the dark.
Right, I lose successes.
You vomit.
2 left. Who's next?
Oh, fuck it. Fuck him. Ignore him. Come on. We'll go through together.
Oh, going through together. Both roll, please. Give me your numbers.
Come on.
92. So 9 successes.
And
0 success.
but you compare it as a combined test.
Yeah.
And because of said declaration, I allow it to stand, which means it's actually 10 successes for the pair of you. As you not just hesitate, you stand at the edge and you look in, and something's looking back at you, and its eyes are dark. And you can feel it looking into your soul. Dark. But before you can vocalize it, you're all through. On the other side, it's actually surprisingly mundane. You expected everything, but instead it's a simple corridor wreathed with leaves and lichen and small creatures moving around in the edge. To you. Meanwhile, on your side, oh no, this place is bad. Swirling winds, stones lifted up and moving with these winds. A very simple path making its way through. Lightning slashing down in the distance. Off really far, a swirling tempest of multicolored hues. Oh no, as you are picking your way along, and her hair is going in an invisible wind, skipping. Her clothes are shifting. For you, it's the drone of insects.
Oh.
Clouds of them all around you. Many of them swooping down and gathering. Some clawing into your ears, trying to get in.
That I don't like.
Or up your nose, your mouth. You can cool test first to see how we react there.
Is it cause I'm cool?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm cool.
Yeah, you're good. So wiping those things off and then stealing yourself. You're not entirely convinced that leaving the palace was a good idea now. This is actually horrible as the clouds part and you can see where you're going, and it's nestling pools of greenish bile that glows, and creatures lap at. Horrible, twisted, broken trees rise up with plump breasts hanging from them, with creatures suckling on them and pus blubbing out and going over their faces. They giggle beneath it. Huh. Wow.
Yep. Okay.
That's going to be in your dreams for a long time. Not in a good way. Like there was an alternative. In a good way. Meanwhile, the pair of you have a shared vision of a simple stone corridor. Much like you're back in Middenheim. Your hands clasped together. You have a shared view of what's ahead. Occasionally, the stonework looks a bit mottled.
Not worry
That's
too much
tough.
about it.
That's tough. Little creature.
Can we see these guys?
Yes.
So I kind of look at her, and she looks at me. It's like, get it together.
Off in the distance, a creature lopes by, almost 20 foot tall. It's got 3 legs. They're spindly things and a big, overpronounced gut. Bones stick out from various corners of it. It weeps all manner of bodily fluids wherever it squelches. For a brief moment, it looks at you, and it's got your father's face as it looks tortured, and then pulls away.
Head down, shoulders up.
You make your way through this easy corridor.
Very
This
benign.
not too bad corridor. It's a bit leafy. It's a little bit. Oh, there's some creatures down there, but fine. It's a
healthy shit, right?
bit windswept. You think you've got it the worst by far, and then you've got what you've got.
Yeah.
Poor birdie.
The swirl in the distance is almost hypnotic. Can I have a cool test from you, please?
A crit. 55.
Sweet. You can choose what to do.
I'll roll again. Another. It's still a double if it's over your thing, right?
Well,
99.
99, no, it just adds a 9. That's
It
a
just,
fail.
it just adds a 9.
Yeah. No, it doesn't because you failed.
No, no.
No,
The
the-
55
I just add the
was
10s
the
to it.
crit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I just add the
10.
Yeah.
Good, yes. 14. So you've got a choice.
Mhm.
You can look or not look.
I won't look.
Good. Time. Time. From your perspective, you've walked along this corridor for not more than 15 minutes until we reach the end. For you, it's a blessed short time in comparison to some, but it's awful. Because it's awful. Not more than about 5 minutes. You are walking along holding her hand for over 5 hours.
But we're holding hands.
Yeah, 5 hours of holding hands in a nice corridor. In your case, you're here for about 8 years.
Whoa.
You feel oddly solemn. No need to eat, drink, talk. Just think and think and think. Now, as far as everyone else is concerned, the time has passed according to their individual parts. We'll get to yours in just a second. Your beard fills out significantly.
Yeah.
Right down.
Nice.
Your hair goes down, crinkles at the edge of your eyes. You're now 8 years older. Actually, 8 years older.
8 years of no emperor.
How long did you say it lasted?
About,
You know.
it's very short for you.
Very shortly.
For yourself, you don't know. You have no concept at all of whether you've been here for years, minutes, days, anything. It just has happened like sleep. In that you've got knocked out and you've woken up and you don't know what time it is. That's what it feels like, sort of. It's like you've walked through a dream and you're uncertain as to exactly what is and what isn't. And indeed, her hand feels almost spongy and unreal. Everything about you feels just off. Like you're seeing it through a filter. Like someone smeared Vaseline over everything and nothing quite makes sense. Until ahead, everybody sees the same thing. An island. You break free from your corridor to see the island. The horrible landscape, the nightmarish hell, breaks and there's an island ahead and a single tree growing out from the center of it. In your case, again, the corridor splits and there's that island, much the same for you, but it's more that the undergrowth splits and spreads and then you've got water and an island. Water and an island. You presume that's where you're going. You presume that's where you're going. But you've got water to cross. How are you going to do that?
First, I guess we'll test how deep it is. I mean, it might just be like.
It's not.
Oh.
It's deep. Some of you are wearing armor. Night. Another night.
Is there a handy boat?
No.
We'll lose the armor then, I think.
There is some mist that is drifting. And there is... Yeah, it's pretty deep.
I mean, just in case, because this is elfy shit, tap the water with a foot.
Splash.
The ripple drifts off into the mist.
But it does, give like
And you
lots of
hear a
zinc. Tap it again twice. Oh.
A coin.
Well, we'll be sneaking up then.
strike me again, father. You hear a voice in the mist. Might be yours.
Right. Don't want to swim in that. For obvious reasons.
Do we have a
Don't really
choice?
have much choice, Your Royal Highness.
Like, what else?
Oh.
Where-
Out of the water over towards your left, small break of a skull comes through the mist, followed by some wood. As it makes its way towards you, and at the top, a looming figure with a cowl, just standing as it pushes its way over. It appears to have no obvious punt or anything to give it.
A small boat.
And it stops. Figure just stands there.
Perhaps it was an exchange of your
Get-
coin.
Get in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, Mama.
and the hood comes back. And it is a face that is most certainly not human. Huge eyes. Round mouth filled with teeth. It opens and closes with thin lips, entirely bald. Oh no, there's hair at the back that spills down its back. As it raises its hand, and a long, slender claw comes out of it as it points it towards all of you. And a voice that is somehow both deep and exceedingly high comes out from it. Who will pay? As the claw points to all of you.
Do it.
I'm looking at the richest person here.
Well, like, I would
That
imagine.
cash.
I would imagine also as a Grand Duchess. I don't carry. Like she wouldn't carry money. Right?
Is the idea of like paying the ferryman whilst it does it have
More,
a similar, like-
More's, cut a long story, yes, you put coins on the eyes of those who die.
Okay, that is a practice.
That is a practice in Morian practices.
So we would all expect to pay ourselves, right?
If you were dead,
No, but I mean, if somebody
dead.
wanted an offering.
to make
Yeah.
your way through the portal, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a door over there. Like,
Its mouth moves as its claw, which shimmers with scintillating colour along its length, points out towards you, and it
Bit of
snips
point.
slightly. The bottom shorter part. Snip, and points.
Offer a coin.
And it stabs
Yeah.
towards you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can I?
You want to try and dodge or stop?
Yes,
Or yeah, I think you might do
ideally,
yourself
yeah.
a dodge test. You're still in your armor though.
I'm going to use my remaining fortune point.
Your
You roll at
bum bum.
99. What is it with doubles tonight? 70.
That's not enough. As it lashes out, clatters against your armor and passes through it like it's almost nothing, and you feel a heavy cut across your midriff. As it shivers, and its voice moves up and down, and the blood trickles up its edge. Some of it laces out from your armor like it's being sucked over towards it, and you feel it's like tugging, like it's put a string into you and it's pulling on it. Are you doing anything as you feel yourself?
I'm trying to staunch it so that he only gets
Pulling
a certain
in?
amount.
Do yourself a cool test.
77.
Oh,
Hey.
perfect timing!
And another 5, so 12.
12 successes, nice. As a small tear forms at the side of your eye, you know that it's not taking your blood.
My soul.
You know in your heart that you have no body here. Your body is nothing more than a manifestation of your very essence, and it's drinking your essence.
Can I slice through the The
You just
tether.
yank back. It
Yeah.
breaks it as it shudders. And drips go into its almost leech-like mouth. The toll is paid.
That's the
And
last
it
time I
hunches
listened to
over.
you.
You lose 10 wounds of your 64 permanently.
Wow.
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 I mean, 64.
Quite.
Yeah.
From this point onwards,
Yeah.
your hair will be white. From this point onwards, you are damned.
Lovely.
Wow.
Bummer. Not that you know that.
Yeah, Burger
But
doesn't give
sadly-
good advice.
Sadly, as you sit in the boat, you do,
Yeah.
because you can feel it behind you. Because it has a part of you.
Mm.
And it wants the rest. And that's all you can think about as you sit there. Oh no.
Worst day ever.
Right, anyone else getting on the boat?
Toll pace, step on.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Are you okay?
No, not even remotely. But let's talk of other things.
And the boat twists and makes its way across the island. The mists gather all around you until eventually the island is arrived at. It bumps against some stone. Small crabs with multi-hued shells scatter off to either side, their little eyes bobbling as they go. The tree up ahead is settled in with the mist, and you can see that there's things hanging down from its skeletal branches. Getting off, I presume.
Mhm.
I will have the rest of you later.
We'll see.
It withdraws into the mist as you're on a small island, enshrouded in a heavy fog, with a tree with something hanging from it ahead of you. What are you doing?
Shoulders up, head down, stomp on.
Yeah, have a look at the tree.
He is not bothered by such things. Ulrich is in his heart. He stomps forward. As you get closer, you realize that the things that are hanging down are much less concerning than your imagination had led you to believe.
Mm.
As you drew closer, your first thought was, guts. No, it's just ribbon. Red ribbon. Lots of little bits of red ribbon tied in place.
It's
It's just ribbon
Just ribbon.
for now.
There's a lot of it in this skeletal tree, but it's just ribbons.
What colour?
Red. All red. Many of them are quite old.
Do I have any ribbon?
Chance for you to have ribbon is actually so-so.
Mhm.
Red is not one of your house colours, though.
But if I had, what is my house colours?
Your house colours yellow and gold, pardon me, and blue.
So if I had something red, I could make the yellow ribbon redder. Potential. I'm just thinking
And,
about options.
and you might have already called it,
Mm.
as you think in your head.
Something red.
Mm.
Yeah. How many of these ribbons were red originally?
Mhm.
Hmm.
She's getting a ribbon ready.
You reach the top as you start undoing some ribbons. I presume you're moving in. You still holding hands? Have you just not let go this entire time?
I guess so,
Her
yeah.
hand feels colder.
Yeah, and the other arm across my midriff, even though there might not be anything to see. Am I still bleeding, or is it just?
Yeah, the wound isn't bleeding at all. It's just
Yeah.
sitting there.
Mm,
Just sitting there.
yeah,
It's not dropping blood.
being creepy.
Yeah, it's. Your armor's broken though. What are you doing?
So much trouble with my master.
We're behind him. Walking. Yeah.
Did she say that? I was
Yes.
like, but you're the Grand Master. How can you be in trouble with your own quartermaster?
Never met him. Terrifying, stern, very grumpy.
Getting old. What's the point in being the Grand Master, Maggie, if you can't, boss
A
the boys
white
around?
hand moves around the edge of the tree,
Do you like
and
it?
another. The tree itself is only so thin. Where it's coming from, you're not sure. And then a white face, long and elven, peaked ears, entirely bald, with eyes as black as midnight. As it looks at you as they widen, and its tongue comes out, it's forked, as it then pushes its way right out. Oh, you thought that was male. Now you're not, no, there's nothing down there, but that doesn't mean it's not male. You've no idea what this is. It's difficult to tell. It looks almost entirely genderless. Naked, as it pushes itself free and looks over and says, with a voice far deeper than you expected, visitors finally. As it cracks its back, you hear a crunch, clack, crack. Visitor. Human. My niece sent you, did she not? What curse is she trying to avoid this time? You have not brought my wife, have you? No. I am not to die this day. Good. He says, good. And then draws himself up to his full height. Very thin, almost 8 feet. As it looks down at you all, then you must be here to bargain. What do you want? And we'll find out what that is after the break.
What two things?
Boris Todbringer, lounging in his chair with his hand on his head, interrupts his storyteller. Well, what the bloody hell does this have to do with anything? Some stupid tale about this, that, and whatnot? He says. Yes, my lord, I understand that you might not quite grasp the gravity of what we're about to explain, but your father, well, you're about to find out what he did. Do I even want to know? I don't need to know. Given everything that had just bloody happened, I don't need to know. I understand, my lord. You're grieving for the loss of your wife. Yes. Or are you grieving for a different loss, my lord? He says, I don't need you talking into my log. Finish off your bloody tale. Well, he says, from what I hear, they weren't exactly sure what they were even there for, my lord. Confusion actually reigned. But that didn't stop them making a decision after all. My lord, they are Ulricans. The thin, emaciated figure of the elf with the bald head and the big black eyes looks out at you all and sits. Shall we make a deal? I can do little else these days since I was captured here. So a deal seems fun. I can't touch you. I would like to. But I can't. I am forbidden. All I have is words. Nothing more and nothing less. Unless we make a deal. What do you want? As its black eyes clearly shift in its sockets. But it's really difficult to tell who it's looking at. It feels like it's looking at all of you because there's no clear pupil that you can focus on. It's just this black pit of an eye and the slight movements of the muscles. It's basically Mona Lisa and not you all. Somehow staring at each and every one as if those black pits can see inside you. What do you want? I want it. I can taste your secrets. I keep them. Such is my duty. What do you want? It says.
We were sent to retrieve 2 things. One for her. And one to bring the Toddbringers to power.
She did knock up herself, of course. An old deal. Yes, I have been keeping it for some time. He gets up. Long before this. Long before as its long, thin arms spill out. And it comes back. Long before I was put here by she who thirsts. And it turns round and goes behind the tree, somehow disappearing. And then comes back out again with the talisman that you're wearing around your neck. Right there. In one hand.
It's still round his neck.
Yep. In one hand. And in the other, a feather. Multi-hued. Every colour of the rainbow. As it takes both and places them down in front of it. That is the talisman of Ulrich. The god's own talisman. You bear a cursed item to thin the blood of your line and make it weak, for you guard the flame. You have been tricked. Your line is cursed because of this, which you bear. It gives you unnatural life, and the cost is weakness. How many children do you have? I imagine it is many, cursed with thirst, as incapable of avoiding it as I am of leaving this place. Perhaps you would like the original. Lifts up. As given to Ulrich by his sister. For slaying, you call it lupus. The day that lupus fell was the day this was made. By she who thirsts. And places it down. A gift. And this is for her. My niece. Words are all we have. Secrets for secrets. Shares for shares. Do you agree to the deal? It is simple. You take a ribbon, give it to someone, and they will one day come here. But if you don't take the ribbon, we have no deal. 1 ribbon each. But I must tell you, when you take the ribbon, certain truths will be told. You cannot avoid it. It is as simple as breathing for you. Words are all I have. It sits down. Words are all I have. But they hold more power than any blade. Do you agree to the deal? Then step forward. You know who has come.
Orin steps forward.
Eagerness. Yes, I can feel it. Come, take it. You know which one is yours. Step forward, and you do. You see it. It's a small, thin ribbon. It's the ribbon that you gave Sigrid. At least that's what you call her. You wrapped it around the smallest of gift tokens. And this, you can rephrase any way you wish, but the core of it, the core of it comes out.
Oh no!
Certain truths are about to be spoken and they come unbidden to your lips. You have no way of properly framing it. You can't make it come across more easy. They just come out. They tumble in sentences that make sense to him. And away you go as you stumble forward and back, holding on to the ribbon that you gave to Sigrid.
Don't you recognize it?
Yes, you do.
Oh no.
It's the token I gave you. The love token.
Right.
I'm sorry, Bertie, that must hurt you. That I love her more now than I loved you when we were younger.
You and he were lovers when you were young.
Hold it.
And I only hope that the curse of it's not the curse of my line and now the curse of our line. And that our child does not also bear the same curse.
And he sits back. Yes, I love this. And his black eyes widen. The words they spill. Yes. Lovers and children. New children brought forth into the world. Who is next, you know, do you not?
I won't.
Listen, she who thirsts. Am I right?
Yep,
Stepping forward.
absolutely.
Oh, yep, there's the ribbon. Yep, there's the ribbon. The ribbon that you gave is a token of your love. Everyone else is like, what am I going to say? He looks at you. Yes. Let your lips move.
I forgive you your pregnancy because I have also not been true. I have been sleeping with Bertie.
You have. Ever since you became Grandmaster.
Wasn't that only 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Just checking.
I no wonder she said it's been like an absolute burden since you got the
The line was so strong.
Yes, but I have to confess that I'm only doing it to keep you under my thumb. I actually hate you. I'm in love with you.
Okay, now.
That's rough.
As he goes. To think you would never have shared these things with each other. What secrets lie between you? What secrets now spill? They feel little just at this moment to the heartbeat of the ribbon, the pulse. But when you leave here, you will feel it all, as certainly as you would have felt it if it were fresh. Who's next? Who's next?
Right,
As
get
you
this
step
over
forward.
with. and just not even looking, yank a ribbon.
Ah, yes. You recognize this ribbon. It was the ribbon that you gave to your wife as, and I put this in heavy quotation mark, a token of your love. Yeah, you recognize that ribbon. It was wrapped round on a gift of a sword. Bloody warrior women. That's all they really wanted. Bloody Nordlanders. A sword. Can't a woman just be a bloody woman?
Ooh.
Nothing controversial there, I think.
The last one. Out loud?
Oh, yes.
Did I call it?
No, not just about. No. Well. So I fucked half the court, obviously. Everyone knows that. Not new.
Ha. Yeah. Exactly on this day. Ha. Ha.
Where does he find the time?
And I enjoyed the dalliance, I do. But I must be honest, I suppose here, secrets and all. I do actually truly despise you. And basically everything you represent.
You're breaking my heart.
Don't worry, I love you.
Well, here's the kicker. I will kill. To keep those secrets secret.
He is a murderer.
Question from Ed, please. They now all know the secrets.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Right.
Do you need to do it instantly?
No, but you know, good to know.
Particularly because they know. I mean, just killing someone's going to be hard. Now they know that you'll kill to keep secrets, so they're obviously going to be on the defensive because they know.
See what I've got on my back?
Yeah.
It's not any good if you don't draw it.
I do need
Dunk.
We'll give you half an hour to unloosen it, and then
Folds arm, stomps to the back of the queue, right next to the edge of the island.
I sense one more ribbon is calling to someone. Who is it? Who steps forward next?
Berg.
Warhammer
Yeah.
telenovela.
I sense your need to talk. It's a ribbon. It's the ribbon you've been holding onto that you bought because you were so desperately in love, but you just didn't have the courage because you were married to pass it over. The courage. Pluck.
That's for you, Maggie. And you, Mother, too. I love you. And you. And I'm gonna totally bang you. Even, I know you've got vows and all that, but I have been thinking, and I don't think it counts.
I have no issue with this.
And I fucking hate your fucking guts. Like, talk about Deathbringer. Like, when you breathe on me, I think I'm going to fucking die. So fuck you and half the fucking court. You fucking... Oh, man. I hate him so much. It felt really good.
The elf nods. Good. There is but one left. She can feel it. Can you not? Let us. And there it is. Yeah, you also bought a ribbon as a token of your affection. Yeah.
You fucker. All right.
Is he actually
Yeah.
giggling away?
As it sits down and just looks with its black eyes in your direction.
Of course, I always thought you're better than him anyway. So I'm happy that, we put this all out.
Just spent the time. Just
And well, I've said things, but I actually am in love with you, Gordon. But perhaps you'll be happy to know that Bertie here will probably not want to kill me anytime soon because the child is his.
It just looks at you. The child is not his. It is his.
Yes.
What a mess. This is just a mess. And your ribbon has been given already. You passed it to her. She cannot leave now.
That's all right, I'm half.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, genuinely, a broad smile on his face.
I pull a dagger and stick it in his throat.
I mean, I'm not standing anywhere near you. I'm
7
standing by him.
successes.
I rolled 53.
7 successes.
It will certainly graze over towards that direction as the first attack goes, as he says, "Stop, not yet!" Back off. Clash. No. Blood. And the slightest trickle of blood goes. And it doesn't hit the island. I am Samael, child of the Ever Queen. I am anointed to forever follow She-Hutha. I have been cursed here with and it reaches up with a very long hand and pulls down a ribbon. The ribbon given to me by my wife. She wears the name Dekala. These nights. She wishes to ascend beside me, but cannot until I die, and I cannot die because I am trapped here, serving a function. I would love to thirst upon thee all. I cannot. I am trapped. But this looks at you directly. Yes, you are now trapped here. This is yours.
Do I have to take it?
It comes over. You will find my wife, so she may find me.
What is it?
Lost is you. Cursed. He who thirsts will try to stop me. You will walk the material plane until your bones give in or find her, one or the other. Because I know your secret. I can feel it. I can feel it. Tell me, Graf, what would you do if I were to tell the little secret that she has, and why she has to do your bidding in all things? I think I would like to share this one. My duty is no longer to keep the secrets. My duty has changed. I prefer to listen. You see, we are there to stop the architect. We know everything it does, for we know every secret. There is nothing it can hide from us. But I no longer care. I'm trapped. So I will share some secrets, children. Since you have been so kind to share yours. So kind to share yours. As it runs its hand over its bald head and looks over towards you. Is it not funny how hatred can turn on the smallest of utterances?
She'll just bow.
Yeah, I understand thy heart. It sits down. I will give thee a choice, great Graf. Act as thy wish, or I share what I know. Before you have a chance to act. What are they to do? My actions are constrained. Honor. Ulrich in honor. Oh, what are you to do?
Why is it always me that has to choose things?
It's heavy as the head that
Yeah,
wears the
like-
crown edge.
It's your posh southern voice. This is
Yeah, check your privilege.
I mean, there's nothing saying he has to move first or do first. I mean, everyone else can if they've got anything they want to do.
I've got a question.
Question.
I see a way out of this that could, I think, might do big breakages.
Oh, I love that. I do love it when people try to outwit a thing.
So you know when he said,
Yeah, they can't hear anything. Uh-huh.
you
Yeah,
know when he said
yeah,
like, he wants to, get out and all that sort of stuff, and he can't touch us, but is there anything stopping us touching him,
You don't know.
breaking the thing, and then he can,
Maybe, yeah.
because he deals with deals, right? So
Yeah.
you propose a deal, and then he can sort everything out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that seemed like that. But the deal that I proposed, nope, right, fine.
all we see is you give
Yes, yes,
a
yes, yes.
little distance.
Yeah. Hunch your shoulders, head down.
Looks at you. Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I don't want to kill me.
Vaughn
he's looking seriously
Eh,
unsure.
will, in language battle, lash to you. Blue bitch first. I don't know if there's a language battle for exactly that, but yeah.
Do we see this?
If he wants to keep
Well,
it
it
out of
didn't
sight, he
look
can
like
keep it
that.
out of sight.
I didn't quite understand something earlier on, and I think Birgit would have known. Like, he was saying that he was like a bastard of brother of his, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you declared your love for me, you implied that Boris, my son, is yours. No, okay, I misconstrued that.
No, the son that he thought he had with Mother Ingrid is actually his son.
Right, got you. Okay.
It's not unsurprising that there are some complexities here that may have been
The
missed.
murder board has just become a cube.
And the secret.
You know what the secret is,
Yeah,
yes.
it's the one that you told me in the
Yes,
kitchen earlier.
absolutely.
Right. Which these can't be told.
You are fully aware of who can and can't be told.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we gotta go town.
And what are you going to do? I don't know what's going to happen.
I'll flash a little. Okay. And then I'll go to swing.
Wait.
I can't get this fucking thing out, can I?
Blade?
Blade, go to swing, and I go as if I'm going for the Grandmaster.
As soon as he moves,
We're going for Vaughn. I'm going for Vaughn. That's right.
See, obviously, I'm bringing my weapon up because I thought we were in a. So.
Yep. So
And
you-
as soon as he goes
Uh-huh.
for a born, as per our pre-agreed signal, I'm gonna go for the mother.
And I
don't know
You're going for it as well! Oh my
if you do.
God. All right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Samuel does this.
Entertainment today.
Yeah.
This is its best day in forever. Right, so, can I please have from you two a test? I'd like an extra test from you as well. So this is weapon melee. Just give me successes. And can I have for you
That's a
two
crit.
as well? Oh, nice.
1.
Oh no, 6 successes.
Not bad. 7.
And you
So
got
I've got a total of 7, but including a +2 crit.
cool. And you got sweet.
I got 2.
Two. You got,
6.
okay, good. Can I have another one? I'm just going to take the test and then I'm going to tell you what happens.
Crit.
Nice one.
Little bastard.
7.
7.
Ooh.
12.
8.
Two, good. And another one.
5.
Ooh.
I don't suppose my weapon skill is 95.
95. It's way over 95.
Oh,
Yeah,
90.
all of you are. That's why I'm doing all my internal calculations as we go.
13 and a +7 crit.
Love it.
7.
Yep.
I'm gonna last fortune point it. Let's rank out.
Okay. You to re-roll. Did you roll over
Yeah.
96?
So, oh no, it's a success, wasn't it? You can only do it failed.
You could add
Totally.
1.
No, rubbish anyway. 3.
I need another one from you three because we're not dead yet, and you two. Another one as well.
Oh.
4 successes.
3 successes.
Oh, nice. Oh, you're still going.
I
Five.
might pop a fortune
9.
point to make it 4.
5.
Nice. Anyone else want to pop? You can pop one to bring up to 4
I've
too.
used
You
both of mine.
5.
yeah, good. Then you don't.
If you just me use the one.
Nice.
It's the
5. And you
Five.
got
Yeah,
9.
I've had 2 fumbles.
Okay, and one more then. I think we're almost there.
Ooh.
4 successes.
My wolves are hard to kill.
I've got another fucking crit.
8.
7, but I might
Although
Up
it might be bad.
by
crit.
1.
I'm tempted to up. Oh,
Okay.
makes it a draw, doesn't it? No, I'm going to up mine by 1 so I win.
Okay, now-
9.
So I've got 14 successes, a +8 crit, but that is an 88. So I don't know if that's something bad in this place.
It's beautiful.
I've got a 3 crit, but 5 over success.
Nice. Oh, okay, that's complicated. There's an awful lot on the two to throw. So that's going that way. That's going there. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. We're going to need another one from you three because you're still not down, and neither of you, none of you are dead. You two are still
I'm
going
tougher,
through.
we.
Yeah, you're
still going, are we?
You are. Yeah.
3
Okay.
successes.
8 successes.
Just 1.
This one and another one from you three. The
Yeah.
White Wolf's holding off to the point that he might actually win this.
6 successes.
6 successes.
Come on. 3.
6.
6.
And we have
Yeah,
We
you-
both
you-
got 3.
We've got
both
three.
got 3. Yeah.
All again.
No.
Yeah.
7.
7 successes.
9.
3 successes.
2 crit
That.
and a 4 on top, so 6. 6 with a 2 crit.
All right. It capers as it watches on with Bree, as almost in sync with each other, you both leap towards your brother, as it turns out, your half
Half
brother.
brother. Get the back straight.
And Circle of Lovers as well, as Stab, he is exceedingly well trained, backs off. But you have been on the front line of war for a decade. You've been been off in the campaigns each year, but you've been frontline soldiering, doing a bit of fighting here or there, but you just don't have the enormous amount of experience that he's had.
Presumably,
Nevertheless,
we would have fought together
that-
anyway, right?
clearly,
I know your weakness. It's that
That-
dodgy shoulder.
however, has brought a level of arrogance for you. And you come in and skewer towards it, and he accepts the blow and drives himself right through it and takes his axe and hacks at your neck, sinking the blade right into your shoulder.
That is my weak spot.
Ouch.
Your jugular.
That's a constant first item.
The blade is falling apart. Over by you two. Get into what starts off as is that lots of crows falling off.
That's right.
Oh, crows are falling everywhere.
The hear no evil crow.
It's beautiful. As you pretty much start off with what looks like a traditional fight, but it very quickly turns into a brawl. As you're rolling around on the ground, beating each other, trying to get a blade in,
Yeah.
pushing that blade off, bashing at the arm.
Just like, you love me, my arse. The fuck is going on?
You slip a blade right between her ribs. She howls in pain. Right where her armor had been broken off. Right where she'd already been cut right through. And you yank with a break, snapping one of her ribs there. Causing her to fall back. You twist round to see him there, shoulder half broken, holding in his hand peak leveler.
Fuck. Don't ask me how I did it.
Because he dislocated.
And you swing it. You know you're dead. You can feel you're dead. So you make him pay. You just take it again and push it right into his face.
Oh.
Slides right across, opening a mighty half of this part of his face peels off. As your blade goes across and takes off the top of his ear entirely and a chunk of his skull at the back. Meanwhile, you hit in the side of his armor. His armor means nothing. This is peak leveler. It goes through it like it's nothing and then hits him with the force. Well, it's well named. And the runes light up. And the top half of his body goes that way. But you can't help but think he looks smug as he sees just how much he's opened up your face. As his body twists and the blood spirals and he capers, moves underneath parts of it, it splashes on his pale body. You two are rolling around.
She's shouting there, just don't listen, just didn't listen.
And just as you get the upper hand and you're on top and you pull out your blade, you're beheaded from behind by peak leveler.
Yeah.
Head. Woof, woof, woof. He says, "You must keep the secrets of the Knight's Panther." Yes. They could not know. They could not know why the Panthers attached themselves to you like limpets. You betray your lovers, your brothers, your ribbon. He looks round. You may take your artifacts. You have entertained me. You are cursed. And that curse will not leave you until you meet my wife. I doubt you'll survive it. Unlike her, she chose a path that very few of my kind take. She chose the path of humans, of mutation, of corruption. We don't need to do that. It's down. She chose to. Her choice. I really hate her. If I'm honest. It says,
He's just sort of mellowing out to
Yep.
himself and which.
Really hates out. When you leave, your wounds will not be the same.
And the missing part of my soul.
You shed blood. You will never be free of me. The whispers of Samiel will be your constant bedbud.
I didn't.
Your nighttime. No! The Nixa woman! I have been tricked. And it turns round and then moves behind the tree and somehow just disappears, leaving you on the island. My lord, says the storyteller. Your family has an interesting history, do you not think? He says, and Boris, at least my mother was all right. He says, Nixa was all right. Ah, my lord. I sense that you have something you wish to share, but you do not wish to share. The burden has broken you, my lord. You could tell me. He says, you could tell me. Boris Todbringer sits in his chair. You're bloody right. I'm not exactly in the best place. But it's carnival. Let the folks have their dreams and their fires in the sky. While people like you and me sit behind it all, staying it for the muck and bloody filth of it. If you wouldn't mind, my lord, there is one other thing that I think is probably worth adding. You might have noticed that the Emperor was involved. I wasn't paying that much attention. With that white wolf, my uncle? It was my uncle. That's funny to think, isn't it? It was my uncle. Yes. Yes. There's a reason it turned out like this, my lord. He takes out a red ribbon. This was the gift that the Emperor gave him. Places it down. And this, he says, excuse me while I just take this small. The tome that I took from Altdorf's library. They knew what they were doing, my lord. What? He says, oh, the Imperial family chose to weaken yours.
Oh.
What? He says, you're telling me that they did that to my uncle on purpose? Oh, yes, man. Oh, yes, the Imperial Court does what it needs to do. You can read it all in there. I am but a bearer of knowledge. Just words. Says, nothing more, my lord. Well, first, it's your royal bloody highness, or sir, if you must. He says, I'm not your bloody lord. I'm your bloody Graf. He says, and I don't need to see this or anything else. I just need one answer from you. If that were all true, what about this fucking thing? He says, holding on to the talisman of Ulrich around his neck. Where the bloody hell did this come from? Did it come from me father? From that thing? What lay across the water? Or is it a copy? Which one is it? Oh, you are the original, my lord. Directly from she who thirsts, Ulrich's sister. I don't bloody understand. What are you talking about? It's Ulrich's twin, obviously. He says, a good thing. Yes? Well, I don't know anything about Ulrich having a twin. No, you don't. Well, perhaps there's a missing piece in your lore. Maybe contemplate on that for a while. Speak to our Ulrich. I'm sure he would be delighted to explain the theology behind it. I'm not bloody talking to him. As he folds his arms. So, do I have the original? Oh, yeah. He nods. You do, I can tell. I am a Lord Magister of the colleges, after all. This is our speciality, artifact. Artifacts. We keep those that are cursed, and we ensure that they do not harm the people. We keep them in the chamber unbreachable. Indeed, the twin to this one is there to this day. Bloody twins. So what happened with that bloody witch? I've not spoken to no bloody witch of no bloody wood. No, maybe not. Interesting. She's not available to call upon old favours. It says that would be unfortunate for them. Maybe they're not as well defended as they think in the Law. He says, something for you to consider, Graf? He says, I suppose. And he sighs. I'm not sure I bloody care anymore. Yes, I understand. The matter with your wife. He looks up at him. What do you bloody know about that? Nick's a woman, yeah? The ones that got away, except she wasn't, was she? 3 of them. What do you bloody know about that? It is my duty as a Magister of the Light College to know when something has fallen and why your heart is broken, my lord. Because your wife had fallen to the depredation of she who first. What? Says, maybe take that up with our Ulrich. No. Fallen to the bloody prince. Says, no, she who thirst. What are you talking about? I had to kill her. I had to kill my wife. I bloody had to kill her with my own hands. Throttle her. They were trying to use me. I understand, my lord. He says, I understand. Perhaps I should leave you to consider all of this. It is more than you probably needed this day. I have done what I needed to do. I have given you the truth. What more could I do, my lord, but advise you, so you could make careful judgments, like this tax. What bloody tax? I don't even know what you're talking about. He says, go, fuck off, get out! Fuck the carnival, fuck it all! He says, I think that perhaps it would be wise if I bid you a good morning. Boris picks up a bottle of wine and nicks it. Advisor makes his way out. Unfortunate, says, and looks down at the book. No. Unfortunate. That is not good. There is going to be difficulties, another war in the Law, I fear. He says, that is a shame, but those elves, they are weakened after all. As he makes his way to the door. He says, Knight Panther, I hope you've been training. You look at him. He says, well, why do you ask? He says, no reason. Just I heard there's a high tax in preparation for war. Will they escort you out? Well, I know the way, but of course. He says, yeah, give me your shoulder. As he makes his way out on the Middenheim. Meanwhile, down in an inn, in one of the richest quarters of town, an inn that had space because it was in the richest quarter of town, a certain group of glorious heroes
Candlelight.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Nice. Candlelight. Yeah, candles. A certain group of glorious heroes are awakening. There is no great change for them, obviously. They are unaware of the events that have happened up in the Middenpalast. They don't know that Boris has not just been broken. He's been taken over the edge, shattered 12 times, and then broken again. He was already in a pretty poor place. They're unaware of all of that. And they don't understand why a black raven pecks by Alamenoite's window. Peck. Tap, tap, tap. And when Alamenoite leaves the inn, it sits on her shoulder. Because the raven was summoned by her.